The core of the storm, or the brunt of it, starting to work in right now or very shortly, and it will continue through most of the night into early tomorrow morning. We've yet to meet blizzard criteria, meaning visibility a quarter-mile or less and sustained winds of 35 or higher for 3 consecutive hours. When that happens, it officially becomes blizzard conditions, and that will happen very shortly. As we take a look, I believe, at the live pinpoint. Well, first of all, we'll get to the radar in just a second, but as we've been talking about all along, that in some cases we're going to be measuring the snow with a yardstick rather than a ruler, as 1 to 2 feet of snow likely, especially in our northern suburbs, and these amounts will be realized by early tomorrow morning. I'll show you those totals in just a second, but you know, the snow, heavy snow will be clinging to tree limbs and power lines. This is not a picture of what's going on right now, but rather an archived picture that I wanted to pull up to give you an idea what I feel as though the scene will look like later on this evening and during the overnight. You know, whether it's the evergreens or these branches start to sag, these power lines start to sag under the weight of the snow, all the more reason why you don't want to be on the roads. And then you throw in the fact that we're forecasting winds 40, 50, 60, 70 miles per hour. These lines and limbs in some cases are going to come down, and why we do anticipate the power outages. Snowfall totals continue to go up each hour now. Coventry at 3.5, West Greenwich 3, Gloucester at 3, as well as Smithfield, Warwick 2, Charlestown now coming in at 2, and these numbers will really start to ramp up later on this evening and during the overnight hours. Moderate snow in Providence right now, with the temperatures been hovering around 33, though I anticipate those temperatures to get much colder overnight as the blizzard warning continues, at least blizzard conditions at times right through early tomorrow morning. As each hour the intensity starts to increase hour by hour, the brunt of the storm tonight, and again, that's more than likely early evening, 6, 7 o'clock through about, I'd say, at least 6 a.m. tomorrow. It lingers into early Saturday. The snow ending on Saturday afternoon, but the wind will still be blowing strong, so all that snow on the ground will tend to blow and drift. So, you know, you clear your driveway, the wind blows the snow back over it. And unfortunately, the same deal with the road crews. As they clean the roads, the wind just blows the snow back over. All right, wind gusts out on the Cape now, 40, 45 miles per hour. Inland wind gusts are around 25 to 30. So, you know, these kind of numbers offshore are a tip-off of the stronger wind offshore, that core of wind that'll be working to the north here very shortly. This is going to be an all-snow situation. We talked about maybe a potential mixing of rain and sleet. I know it's raining out towards Chatham and Nantucket. Our South Shore may briefly, if at all, see a little bit of rain and sleet mixing in for a couple of hours, but the colder air will take over and it will go back over to an all-snow situation. So bottom line, you've got some excessive snow amounts along the south coast as well. It's not just one of those Foster-Gloucester deals. The coastline will get quite a bit as well. Not often we show the red traffic light, but when we show you that, when we're talking about weather and travel, it means it's quite dangerous. Temperatures this evening dropping through the lower 30s with the heavy snow continuing hour by hour. Then later on this evening and overnight, I mean, it is just blowing sideways. Bona fide blizzard conditions during the overnight. And notice the drop in temperature. Even though it's 33 right now, it heads down to around 15. As I mentioned earlier, that causes the snow to be more of a dry, fluffy snow. It blows around very easily. And we know the storm is intensifying. You see these bands of yellow and orange just offshore. That's some pretty intense precipitation that is headed our way with the cold air in place, and why we anticipate some of this excessive snow. The storm will be passing in this location later on tonight and tomorrow morning. We call this the benchmark. In other words, to get a significant nor'easter with the heavy precipitation and the wind, and especially snow, you need it to pass through this corridor right in here, what we call the benchmark. And you know, whether it was 1978 or the blizzard back in 2005, you know, 9 times out of 10 they pass in this general location. That assures us of a couple of things. One is that it assures us of a more northeasterly wind, which tends to maintain the cold air and keep the precipitation as all snow. Quick look at the accumulations one more time as the snow comes down hard. These numbers will be realized not so much in a couple of hours from now, obviously, but rather by early tomorrow afternoon. 10 to 18 along the immediate South Shore, 15 to 24 inland, with locally higher totals up to 24 in our northern suburbs, and then maybe some isolated spots that are up to 30 inches of snow by noontime tomorrow. Information still coming into the Weather Center. This is an ongoing and evolving storm. More data on how this all plays out coming up in a few more minutes.